Season 2 of Hazbin Hotel is just around the corner. Hopefully. If everything goes according to plan, this vid will release the same day as Hazbin Hotel's panel at San Diego Comic-Con, and they'll hopefully announce Season 2's release date. So, I figured now is a perfect time to bring back one of my classic favorite things, a bingo board. I am legitimately so excited to do a new one of these. If you're new here, when I do a bingo board for an upcoming season, I like to fill the board with two different categories. First, the things I want to happen. These might be a bit unrealistic or outlandish, but I still think it's fun to talk about the things I would like to see come true. Second, the things I expect to happen. Whether I think it's a good idea or not, these are the things I think are the most likely to actually end up happening. Well, let's not waste any more time. First things first, something I want to happen: no new characters. Okay, I know technically there's already been, I think, 2 new confirmed characters for Season 2, Abel, and then that one fish kid with glasses, but aside from those 2, I hope they don't introduce any other new characters. Season 1 introduced a lot of side characters who kind of ended up going nowhere. Most of the overlords and Mimsy, for example. Having them be so inconsequential in Season 1 was a shame, especially given how much screen time got carved out for them. So I hope that setup can get real payoff in Season 2. Unfortunately, what I expect to happen is they'll introduce at least 5 new characters. 7 if we include the blonde boy and the fish kid. Season 1 had a huge problem of introducing a lot of unnecessary characters, and I expect this season to follow suit. It'll probably be characters related to the fish boy and Abel, probably Angel Dust's sister, because apparently that's who that is, I guess. Next thing I want is a bigger variety for the song styles. Season 1 stayed in the area of sorta typical Broadway musical kind of thing, with a few standout exceptions. I hope they just play around with the styles a lot more. Another thing I want, while we're on the topic of songs, I hope the V's get a song together. We haven't heard Valentino sing much yet, but I think all 3 of them together would be fun. Something I expect to happen: it's already been confirmed that Season 2 will have more songs than Season 1, so I expect a whole episode that's just one big musical that will feature 3, 4, or maybe even 5 songs. Because I really can't figure out how they'd manage to have more than 2 songs per episode, and the only way I think they'll achieve that bigger number is by doing something like this. I don't necessarily dislike this idea, it's just not something I usually enjoy. Like, I never liked it when My Little Pony did these kind of episodes. I want to see Charlie really start to figure out a real way on how she can redeem the sinners. Because in Season 1, her plans were all very after-school, kids special kind of thing. I don't think saying please and thank you really matters much, and the fact Charlie does think so makes her come across as kinda naive. Now that we've seen Serpentius has ascended, we can really start having a discussion about how that happened, which can help steer the hotel in a certain direction moving forward about how they're going to rehabilitate the sinners. However, I actually expect Sarah will want to keep Serpentius's ascension a secret, and I think a majority of the plot is actually going to be Emily and Pentius trying to figure out a way out of heaven to show Charlie he's been redeemed. And to be clear, I don't dislike the idea of this story. It would just also have the unfortunate side effect of Charlie likely not changing up her strategy on redeeming the hotel patrons. Regardless if that's the plot or not, something I want to happen is Emily to visit hell. Not only do I just want more Emily, but I also think it would be a fun and funny parallel to Charlie visiting heaven. Something I expect, based on Vivziepop's writing from Hell of a Boss, I think Lucifer is going to kind of take over the hotel from Charlie. Like, she'll still be the main character, but I don't think any decision will get made without her first running it by Lucifer to get his permission, which would suck. I think. We've all seen how she writes male versus female characters. Another one I expect is I think the Overlords are going to kind of steal the show. We already spent so much time with the Overlords in Season 1. Our main cast had to become friends off screen because we needed to prioritize Carmilla and Zestial gossiping. I expect them to once again get a lot of screen time and attention, but this dominoes into something I want, which is I want the Overlords to become personally connected connected to the hotel's plotline. Yeah, Alistair is an overlord, Carmilla trained Vaggie, and Rosie helped out Charlie because she's Alistair's friend, but there's all these others who feel so disconnected from the hotel plot. I think if the V's are going to be the main villains this time around, it would be an easy way to get the overlords to be more intrinsically connected to Charlie and the hotel plotline, rather than just being this idea that sort of floats around them. I expect them to kind of just forget about the fact Vaggie is from heaven. Maybe someone like Husk or Angel Dust will make a snarky remark mentioning it, but I think the character trait is going to basically be forgotten. She'll just have wings sometimes and bleed gold, and that's it. While we're talking about heaven folk, I want Lute to get a sick new arm. It could be like a heaven robo arm, or like a magical fantasy arm. Basically, I just want it to look cool and give her new powers or weapons or whatever. I hope they play around with it, at least visually. I expect Lilith to be incredibly minimal this season. They might tease her a bit more, but I think she still mostly will be set up for later seasons. Eve too, though I honestly don't know if Eve is even going to be in the show anyways. I want to see Adam come back, but now in hell, like as an opposite to Serpentius. Not only do I think that would be really cool for his character and for the characters in the story, but it also adds a whole new spin on Charlie's ideas about redeeming sinners. Adam might be on her side just to save himself, or he could team up with the V's out of spite. I don't know, I think the possibilities are endless. Unfortunately, I actually expect them to not bring Adam back at all. I think that's why Abel got introduced. I think he's going to be taking over Adam's role. To be a bit more optimistic, something I expect to happen that I think would be cool is I expect Alistair to make another deal with someone in the hotel. Maybe Vaggie to get Charlie out of her deal that she made with him. I think that's Alistair's ultimate goal, to get as much of the hotel staff under his control so he can use them for whatever his ultimate endgame is, whether they agree with him or not. While we're on the topic, I want to see Charlie's deal with him come to fruition. He said he'd need her to, at a time of his choosing, harm no one, and I want us to at least set up the idea of what this might be for if it doesn't pan out during this season. I'm just real curious to know what Alistair's real goal is. We already know there's going to be a crossover with Hell of a Boss. I really want to see all the 7 deadly sins all together. I think that would be so cool. However, I actually expect the big crossover to happen in season 3 of Hell of a Boss, not in Hazbin, though there might be some sort of cameo somewhere. Also, I expect a character who was initially introduced in Hell of a Boss to play some sort of major role in this season of Hazbin Hotel. None of the main cast, though, probably one of their side characters like Asmodeus or Viago, Star Parrot Boy, I'm still not quite sure what his name is. Something I really want to see is the sinners' backstories of when they were human. These characters come from wildly different walks of life, and they all died in vastly different decades. Not only would it be really cool actually getting to see that on screen and explore that aspect of the characters, but I also think it would be a really cool way to have the characters get to bond with each other. A really interesting Hazbin Hotel specific aspect for these characters to grow deeper and develop. I think it would be so cool. I expect the finale to be another big dumb war. God, I think this angle is so silly. Big battles work with Hell of a Boss where their jobs are to be assassins, but I don't think Charlie is going to figure out a way to get Heaven to agree to her plans of redeeming sinners by beating up a bunch of people. But Vivzipop thinks this stuff is super cool and we just gotta have, like, Angel Dust using Tommy guns or whatever, I guess. So I definitely expect another big war thing at the end. But to end off on a positive note, the last piece of my bingo board, I want to see another hotel patron ascend into heaven by the end of this season. I think learning how ascension works is not only really interesting, but will do so much in terms to progressing the plot and characters. My first hopes would be either Nifty or Husk, just because of their ties to Alistair. Nifty is like one of the 3 people Alistair actually likes, and if he suddenly lost her because she went to heaven, I think it would be a really big wake-up call for him. And for Husk, it's kinda similar, but more interestingly, I wonder if ascending would break the control Alistair has over him. if that did happen, that could be a really interesting way of turning Alistair into the ultimate big bad I suspect he's going to be for the show. Now he would want to actively stop Charlie from succeeding with her hotel plans if that means he might lose control over people. But if it's not one of those two, then I'd want it to be Cherry Bomb, just because I want her and Sir Prentious to be together again. But yeah, that's my bingo board of various things I want and expect to happen in season 2 of Hazbin Hotel. Let me know what you would put on your own bingo boards. And shout out to my $10 patrons, you're all amazing. Andrew, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, Classy Critic, Genital War Thunder, Jake, Amber, Hype Man, Scaring Crows, Not All That Evil, Holly, Messiah, Jacob, Ben's Sketchbook, Rain, Trash, Wild Pilot, Josh, Twisty, Bunkin' Duncan, Hoodie Angel, Ranger, Hut Mutt Butt, Sean, Primaroon, Overhypin, Lava Rose, Plague, Tyrene, Thanos, Pandemonium, Peter, Agiri, Shahid, Eden, The Eliza, Doki Pokey, Moon of Blues, Spencer, Bargus Blue, Cage the Mage, and ... Yeah, what do you think? If you want, I could, post a blank bingo board for you to fill out on your own. I love doing this. I love doing the bingo thing. Even if I'm, wrong in every aspect, I still think it's so much fun to think of enough stuff to fill the whole board. And I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm curious. I'm optimistic. I want to see season 2. Hopefully they announce it today. Hopefully we get it. But I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.